Hi, my name's Dave and welcome to episode number 2 of this weekly guitar lesson series. In the last lesson we went through playing your first 3 chords. In this lesson I want to go through playing your first bit of lead guitar. Playing lead guitar and coming up with melodies and things like that isn't as complex or as hard as you might think. All the resources for today's lesson are available by following the link in the description box below. We're going to run through everything step by step now, so let's grab our guitars and let's get started. The first thing I want you to do is to learn the scale. The scale we're going to base everything around is the A pentatonic major scale. If you don't already know how to play the pentatonic major scale, then I have linked up here a really quick, easy to follow guitar lesson just showing you how to play the notes of the scale and how to practice it, that's all. Just a quick overview of the notes of the A pentatonic major scale. So it's going to start on the 5th fret of the low E string, 2nd fret of the A string to the 4th fret A, D string same 2 frets 2 to 4, G string same 2 to 4, B string 2 to 5, and the E string 2 to 5. It's so easy to find the key of a song and to learn the scale, or you might already know the scale, and just noodle over it, because the notes of the scale are going to work. But if you want to sound good, no matter what level you are, you could be a beginner, new to this thing, you could be an advanced player, whatever level you're at, it is incredibly helpful to know what you're playing over. Or, the way I prefer to see it, is to know what you're playing with. The chord progression that we're playing over today in the backing track is an A chord, to an A chord again, so the second bar is an A again. Then we go to an E chord, and then to a D chord. Now we know what chords we're playing over, we need to try and find the root notes of those chords within the scale shape. So the first chord we're playing is the A chord. Now in this scale, we have an A note here, first note, but we're not going to use that in our solo or in our lead playing right yet, because we want to stay to the higher notes so it sounds more melodic. So we've got an A there though, in case you want to use it. We've got an A here, so that's the 2nd fret of the G string, that's an A note. So make a mental note of that, so when we're playing an A chord, that note is going to sound great over an A chord. But in this shape, we actually have another A note we can use, so we've got A there, and we've got A there, so 5th fret on the high E string, that's an A note as well. So when we're soloing, we can use that A or that A over the A chord, and they're going to sound really good together. They're going to sound really good over the chords. With an E, now the E chord, throughout this scale shape, we have an E there. We're not going to, I've not put this down as something we're going to use within the solo I've put together, but that's an E note that you can use. That's the 2nd fret of the D string. And that's going to sound really good over an E chord. And this one, so the 5th fret of the B string is an E note, and we're going to be using that today quite a bit. So that note is going to sound fantastic over an E chord. And the final note is the root of D, which is going to be played over the D chord. Now, this note doesn't actually come up in this A pentatonic major scale. This does happen within scale shapes, but this I see as a very good thing, because if we were just playing over this chord progression, just noodling around with the scale, over the D chord, you'll find that you can just noodle over it absolutely fine. But if you suddenly come out of the scale and hit that root note of D, then it's going to sound really good. So the D that we're going to look for is going to be close to the other notes that we're going to be playing. So the D I've chosen is the 3rd fret of the B string. Now in the scale we don't use that note, we go from 2 to 5. But with the D chord, if we go to that 3rd fret, it's going to sound fantastic. And they're going to really work as what I'm going to call our target notes for playing our lead guitar and our melodic lines. The next key thing we're going to learn to make your melodies and your lead guitar playing sound interesting is licks. I'm going to teach you 2 different licks here. A lick is a stock pattern or phrase consisting of a short series of notes. You can add different techniques to your licks, so you can add like string bends, vibratos, slides, hammer-ons, pull-offs, whatever you want to do, you can add them in there, and they're going to make your licks sound really good. But for the sake of this lesson, I'm just going to keep the licks as simple as possible, so not really with any techniques in there. Just so you can see how the process works and how adding some licks to these other things that I'm giving you are going to make your lead playing sound melodic and interesting. I'm going to show you 2 licks now, so here's lick number 1. Lick 1, so I've tried to keep these licks quite simple but somewhat interesting so you can really change them, adapt them to make them your own. But just even at the basic level, they're not going to be insanely hard to play. You might find them a little bit tricky at first, but you'll get these with a bit of practice. So the first lick is going to go 2nd fret of the G string, and then we're going to walk up the scale 3 notes from there, so it's going to go 2, 4, and the next string down 2. So far we've got 2, 2, 4, 2. Then we're going to go to the 2nd fret on the E string, and then to the 5th fret of the E string. So it's going to go. Lick number 2, so this one is essentially just like a scale descending pattern, but we're going to repeat the first couple of notes. So we're going to start on the 2nd fret of the high E string, and then go to the 5th fret of the B string, and then we'll just play that again, so it's going to go. And then from there, we're just going to walk down the scale, so 2nd fret on the B, to the 4th fret on the G, to the 2nd fret on the G. So we've got. Play that one more time. And if you do want to add some techniques to that, like some legatos, hammer-ons, pull-offs, vibratos, anything that you're learning, you can apply those to licks and adapt them and change them a little bit. So for example, the first lick I might do something like that, you know, just change it, do what you want to do with it, but only if you know how to do those techniques. Just stick to the basic thing first of all. Second lick, I might just change the rhythm a bit. And again, it's the same lick, I just adapted it slightly to make it a bit more fun for me there. But at first, just stick to licks the way they are. If you are more advanced than that and you know some techniques, string bends, legatos, trills, whatever it may be, add them in if you want to, it's not a problem. The best way to make your licks sound good is to make them fit with the music that you're playing. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take those licks and we're going to use the root notes that we've discussed earlier, and we're going to incorporate the licks so they really match the chords that we're playing over. So all we're going to do is we're going to take the root note from each chord and we're going to either start the lick with the root note or end the lick with the root note, or even a bit of both. And you're going to notice that the licks are still the exact same, but because we're targeting those root notes from the chords we're playing over, they're going to sound absolutely awesome and they're going to sound like they belong with that chord. So lick 1 first, I'm going to play over the A chord. So the first one is actually the same thing, it's just the lick. It's starting on A, ends on an A, so it's going to work over an A chord really well. So it's just going to be the same as the lick. And it's going to work really well over that A. Second lick is going to be the exact same, but instead of finishing there, we're going to go back to the first note again. So the other A, so the one on the G string, 2nd fret. So it'll just go. And again, it's the exact same lick, it just has a little bit of a different sound because we're ending on a different A note. Now the same lick for an E chord, it's going to be the exact same thing, but this time we start it and end it with that B string 5th fret note of the E there. So it's going to go. And the final one, D, so it's the same lick again. This time we're going to start it with the 3rd fret on the B string, and we're going to end it with the 3rd fret on the B string, which is your D note. So the exact same lick, just starting from there. And I'll do it again without the vibrato this time. Lick 2 now, over the A chord, it's actually just the lick again. It ends on an A note anyway, so we're going to keep that as the normal, just the lick as it is. So the first lick is going to be. Second one, also over the A, it's going to be the exact same thing, but this time we end on this A note, the one at the 5th fret of the high E string. So it's going to go. And it's the exact same sound, same tonality, it's just higher note at the end, it sounds really nice. There I actually played the A note there and then bounced down to the octave of that A. It sounded really good as well. And the next one is over the E chord. So this time the exact same thing, same lick, just playing the E note of the 5th fret of the B string to finish with. It's going to sound great over that E chord. And the last one is the D chord. So it's the exact same lick again, same as we've been doing, but this time we're going to end on the 3rd fret of the B string. So. And again, that's going to sound fantastic over that D major chord. So I'm going to give you the examples first over each chord individually. So you'll hear the licks played over the A chord, then over the E chord, then over the D chord. I've put together a simple example solo that uses each of the concepts that we've discussed. So there's going to be a bit where we're using just the root notes, but maybe using some different rhythmical ideas over those root notes. And then we've got some of the licks, and we're going to use the licks to target the notes of the chord that we're playing over at the time. I'm not going to break down the solo note for note, as it's using all the concepts that we've used in this lesson. So if you've gone through the lesson, you'll probably be able to pick up on exactly what I'm playing and where I'm playing it. So I don't think I need to go through every single note individually. Okay, so we've gone through all the steps. Now, hopefully that's given you some ideas that you can apply to your own playing. So, I don't know, your recordings, your jam sessions, your songwriting. So if you can take these ideas away and get creative and see if you can come up with some nice melody lines to adopt into your own playing. Feel free to use all the resources that come with this lesson, the backing tracks and the playthroughs. There's a load of things down there, so just go check them out in the description box below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon so you can keep up to date with all the videos as they're uploaded. There's a lot of new stuff that I'm planning on bringing to the channel at the moment, so keep your eyes open for that. And I'll see you in the next lesson.